Welcome to what can only be described as a BMW M car fest. In the blue corner, the all-new M2, and in the white corner, the M2's spiritual predecessor and all-round riot on four wheels, the 1M. Just for good measure, we threw an M4 competition pack in here as well, boasting a bit more power and a higher price tag than the Mini M's, yes, but also a touch more weight to haul around the circuit. So the simple question is, which of these two-door M cars is fastest against the clock?
Right then, so I'm going to do the M2 first. I mean, the moment you get in it, it feels like such a proper little driver's tool, this thing. It really does. The steering's quite meaty. There's a slightly soft but really good kind of sensation of the rear tyres chewing into the ground to get traction. It goes like stink, as you'd expect it to, with that 3-litre turbocharged engine of 500 newton meters of torque on overboost. It's properly agile too. I mean, it feels very fast, but it doesn't feel rocket ship fast. And it sounds great. It stops really well. And it's just one of those cars that makes you smile. It really does make you smile. So, we've already timed an M2 around here, but that was the one with the DCT gearbox. The lap starts here. And I'm not so sure that the DCT gearbox is the one you want around here, because it does add, oh nice and neat through there, it does add a little bit of weight. I'm not convinced that the gear ratios would be any better than the manuals. Oh, it just feels really nice through that corner onto the back straight. Just on the verge of oversteer, but not actually going into full-blown time-wasting oversteer. You've got to be a little bit patient with the throttle, but the lap stops there. Wow, okay.
It's a very tidy time from the M2, but with the exact same amount of torque and weight, and the same amount of gears, can its predecessor, the 1M, get anywhere near it?
I love the BMW 1M. I have such a soft spot for this car. I ran one for 12 months and just every time I got in it, I just loved it to bits. And it's not that old technically, okay, you know, the back end is not anywhere near as sophisticated as the M2's. You know, you've got pretty much the same amount of power, exactly the same amount of torque, and they weigh the same. And they both have 6-speed manual gearboxes, so there really ain't going to be that much difference, I don't think, other than under brakes, I suspect. Anyway, there's our lap time started in the 1M. Oh, just, there's a bit more energy going on at the back end, but which you need to manage a bit more carefully like that, but it's still, oh, it just feels a little bit soft at the back there. I don't reckon there's any difference between the way this one goes down the straight, the back straight, compared with the M2. Goes through the chicane really nicely. There's just this little bit more unwanted movement, which is actually quite a laugh, but this ain't going to be much difference. This ain't going to be much slower. No, it isn't much slower. Crikey. That's 0.2 slower than the M2.
That the 1M got so close to the new M2 was, it must be said, a bit of a shock. But then the stopwatch never lies. So, how much quicker or otherwise could the more expensive, more powerful, but slightly heavier M4 competition pack go?
Not only has it got the competition back bits on it, which make the chassis that much sharper, give it that much more grip, give it better tyres, more grip. It's also got the small matter, well, the not so small matter of 425 horsepower, which is a fair bit more than the M2 and the 1M. And it's got 550 newton meters of torque. And do you know what? It hardly weighs any more than either of them. So really, it should blitz this. And it's got the MDCT gearbox, this particular one, which, I don't know, it's not as sweet as a manual maybe to use, but it's very fast in the way it shifts gear. Gosh, yeah, it feels quantifiably quicker in a straight line as well. Very good on the brakes, nice and neat through here. Wow, this thing feels well hooked up. Just short shifted a touch through there because you can really light the back end up. Otherwise, this is fast car. This feels beautifully sorted as well. You can really lean on the rear end, and it just does absolutely what you want it to, when you want it to. See, this is where it gets interesting and it starts to freak me out a bit. It is quicker than the M2, but only by 0.3 of a second. It feels way quicker than the M2 around here. But maybe that's because the M2 is just that little bit smaller, so you can use up a little bit more road, which is key on a fiddly little track like this. It just feels so much quicker in a straight line, the M4, but... well, there you go. M4 is the quickest by 0.3. Then comes the M2, and then comes the 1M. But the really interesting thing, and the thing that I can't quite get my very small amount of grey matter around, is that the gap between the 1M and the M2 is smaller than the gap between the M2 and the M4 competition pack. Conclusion, the less money you spend on your BMW M car, the better value you get.
Click on the video windows to watch a track battle between the dual clutch equipped BMW M2 and Ford's new Focus RS, or watch a first drive of this very M4 competition pack. Click on the play icon to watch our latest video, or on our logo to subscribe.